Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Partner Showcase. Kick off the school year with the latest updates for Fusion 2025. As you guys are making your way in, please take our poll. This is just for our presenters to know who is with us today. So a little bit about, what you do if you are, for example, a TVI or a teacher or parent, a user, where you're from, and of course, how you heard about this webinar today. And while you guys are going ahead to take that poll, we are going to go over the ground rules of this webinar. So just so you can see what is on my screen as well, I will let you guys know that the ground rules for this webinar is that if you have any questions, please type your questions into the chat. We will have people monitoring the chat as we go through this webinar, and we would love the most engagement as possible. Any questions that you might have, any burning things that you've been wanting to know, we can get some answers for you guys. There is no ACV REP credits for this partner showcase, and of course, there is closed captioning available if you need that as well. I'm going to go ahead and close out this poll in just a minute, and we'll go over the results, and then we will introduce you to our guest today. So, what is your job title? It looks like about 70% of people are teachers of the visually impaired. We have some early intervention teachers, some assistive technology specialists, and as far as where you're from, we have about 20% from the Southeast, 60% from the Southwest, we have 20% from the Midwest, and of course, most of you heard about this webinar through an email from APH. Welcome. We are so excited to have you guys today. And I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Elizabeth Whitaker. She is the product manager for user education and outreach at Vispero, and she's going to tell you a little bit about herself, her background, and get into the webinar.
All right. Thank you very much. It is so great to be here again. I always love these APH webinars. They're always so much fun. So thank you all for joining us. Like Amanda said, my name is Elizabeth Whitaker, and I manage the user education and documentation team here at Vispero. So we are responsible for all of the training content, which includes webinars, videos, all kinds of web content, a lot of different things that we produce, as well as the documentation for our software, JAWS, ZoomText, and Fusion, and the Braille documentation as well. So today we're going to be talking about JAWS, ZoomText, and Fusion. Now you may hear the term sometimes Fusion Suite. If you hear Fusion Suite 2025, for example, what it's referring to there are those three products. We have JAWS, which is our screen reader, reads information that's on your screen, verbalizes it for you. Full speech, full screen reader. ZoomText magnifier, which magnifies and enhances the screen. You also have some speech with ZoomText that's available that can supplement that magnification. It's not a full screen reader, but you do have some speech. And then we have Fusion, which is both products together. So JAWS and ZoomText, you can run it as JAWS, as ZoomText, or as Fusion using the Fusion interface. So you have the best of both worlds and the JAWS and the ZoomText there as well. All right, so we're going to be talking about some of the new features that we have released over the last year in JAWS 2025, JAWS, ZoomText, and Fusion 2025. So we are predominantly talking about 2025, although we do have 2026 coming up here very soon, so stay tuned for information about that. All right, so with JAWS, ZoomText, and Fusion 2025, we are going to talk a little bit about the overview of JAWS, ZoomText, and Fusion, which actually we just did that. Talk a little bit about the update, and we just pushed out an update last week, in fact. It's our September update for 2025, and we do have some new features and enhancements for that. We're going to talk about JAWS support for multi-line Braille displays. A feature called FS Companion, which is an AI tool for learning JAWS, ZoomText, Fusion and other applications. Automatic language detection for those of you who read information, read documents and web pages that are in different languages. We're going to be talking about what this is and how you can turn it on. The JAWS AI Labeler. This is a feature that is for controls on web pages and applications, things like graphics and buttons that aren't labeled or are not labeled correctly. Then on the Zoom text side of things, we're going to talk about a feature called Live Text View, and we're going to talk a little bit about changes to the Zoom Text Startup Wizard. All right, so there will be some demos today. Not all of these features will be demoed, but we do have a video for one of them, and we're going to demo several of them. So let's start with multi-line Braille. So if you are a Braille user or you work with other Braille readers, you know that you've probably seen Braille displays, you might have used them, and you know that traditionally you have a Braille display where you have one line of Braille and you have to use panning keys to navigate to the next line or the previous line. And while this works great, having multiple lines of Braille under your fingers, having that information right there is extremely, it's game changing. Absolutely game changing. So if you are working math equations, math problems, you'll be able to see all of that equation at the same time. You won't have to keep pressing buttons to pan down and think, oh, well, what was on the previous line? No, you will see all that information all at once. You'll be able to read paragraphs instead of one line at a time. You'll be able to read paragraphs. And you'll also, and this is one of the greatest benefits of multi-line Braille, you will also be able to determine a document or web page's layout. So how is this laid out? And this is really critical to knowing sometimes how to interact with that document or web page. How do I navigate? What do I have in front of me here? So it helps you understand the layout. So those are just some of the benefits. That's just the tip of the iceberg, really, but those are just some of the benefits of multi-line Braille. So we have now added support for multi-line Braille output in JAWS when you have your multi-line Braille display connected to your computer. So right now, there is support for the Monarch from APH, which I know you all are, it's a hot topic right now, and you all are going to be talking about that, as well as the DotPad from Dot Incorporated. And so those displays, you'll be able to connect them to your computer, and with JAWS, you'll be able to read multiple lines of Braille at once. All right, next, let's move on to the next slide here. I want to talk a little bit about FS Companion, and we're going to spend some time here because if you've never used FS Companion, you're going to want to. So FS Companion is a feature that we added to both JAWS and ZoomText in version 2025. So it's been here for almost a year. An FS Companion is your new AI tool for learning how to use JAWS, ZoomText, Fusion, and other applications like Microsoft Office apps, Google Workspace, maybe navigating web pages. So it is an AI tool. You're going to be able to chat with it just like you would any other AI tool. I know we're all using probably a lot of AI tools right now, and FS Companion is one of the ones that you're going to want to use because it's where you're going to go to look up information, whether you're new to JAWS or ZoomText or Fusion, and you want to know how to perform a specific task, or whether you're just looking for keyboard commands or you're just looking for some information. It's a great place to go. I'll give you a couple of examples here before I share my screen and show you how it works. So what if you're learning about JAWS and you come across this feature called, let's say, place markers or something like that. There's a feature called place markers that allow you to mark certain locations in a document or web page. But if you're not familiar with that, you could ask FS Companion, well, what are place markers? Where can I use them? And from there, you could continue chatting with it and you could learn how to use them. And it's going to give you all that information in steps. So chronologically, this is what you do. You press, step 1 is you do this, step 2 is you do this. And it's also going to give you the keyboard commands for those tasks. And I think that's extremely important to point out here because if you just go Google a particular task, for example, even if you ask it for keyboard commands, you're probably going to get a lot of information about the visual aspects, what to click on. Click the three dots in the upper right-hand corner, click the hamburger icon. I just happen to know those three dots are settings typically, but you may not always know that. So, you don't always know. I mean, you get an answer to your question, but you don't always know what keyboard commands to use. That's where FS Companion comes in because it's going to give you those keyboard commands. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And I'm going to share JAWS so you can hear. All right, I'm actually in a Word document right now that has some notes for this webinar, and I'm going to stay there. That's fine. Can you see my screen and can you hear JAWS? And do I need to change the volume or adjust any of that?
Yes, I can see your screen. I can hear JAWS, and I don't think you have to adjust anything because for me, it's okay.
Okay. All right. Thanks. So you can access FS Companion in a few different ways. You can access it right from JAWS or right from ZoomText, or you can access it online. So if you're not using JAWS or ZoomText 2025, for example, you can still access it at fscompanion.ai. Or if you're accessing it on your mobile device, for example, maybe you would prefer to get those answers on your mobile device and then, perform those tasks on your computer, or maybe you're not near a computer, but you're trying to help someone. So there are a lot of different reasons, a lot of different ways. Sorry about that. I wanted to make sure I was where I thought I was. There are a lot of different ways you could access it. All right, so you can access it via the web, or you can access it from JAWS, ZoomText, or Fusion. If you access it from ZoomText, you're going to go to the help menu and you're going to be able to access it from there. From JAWS, you can find it in the help menu, but you can also use a keyboard command, which is insert space. That gets you into the command layer. Or if you don't have an insert key and you're using laptop layout, it's caps lock space. You'll hear that noise. And then press F1.
Hello, I'm excited to help you learn more about JAWS. Here are some things to know.
Okay, so the first thing that happens, it launches, it comes up in what we call the results viewer. What you see here is exactly what you read here is going to be what's on the web page as well. So the two are the same, except one thing. So when you're accessing FS Companion from JAWS or ZoomText, it knows which application you are using. So you don't have to worry about saying, how do I use place markers in JAWS? It knows you're using JAWS. Same thing with ZoomText. If you access it via fscompanion.ai, since it won't know whether you're using JAWS or ZoomText or neither. You could access it no matter, even if you weren't using, assistive technology. So you would need to specify, how do I use place markers in JAWS? Or how do I set magnification levels in ZoomText? And if you don't do that, it will prompt you. It'll tell you, well, I need to know what program you're using. Okay. So what we have here is essentially a web page, and there's some information on this page. You can read it that tells you how to navigate. So what you have here is it places you in an edit field where you can type your prompt. So in AI terms, a prompt is a question or a directive, a statement. You're telling the AI what you need it to do, or you're telling it what you need to know in this case. Or you're asking it a question. So you want to be as specific as you can be, and that way you'll get the best results. But if you just have a question, you're not really sure where to start, you can ask it and you can keep chatting with it and you will get the information that you're looking for. Now this is our own AI tool. So we are constantly training it on JAWS, on ZoomText and Fusion, on Google Workspace applications, Microsoft Office, web page navigation, all of our resources, all of our training materials are constantly being fed into it, and we are updating that information regularly. So you will be able to, over time, learn even more than you can now, and it's going to continue to evolve. So we're placed here in an edit field. So the information on this page, if you just wanted to read through the page, it's going to tell you a little bit about how to navigate. So you ask it a question and you press enter, and it's going to show you your question and the answer. And the questions are going to be listed under headings. So each question is its own heading so that you can navigate. If you're using JAWS, well, number one, the headings stand out. So if you can see, and you're using ZoomText or Fusion, you can visually see those headings and you can navigate through your questions out. That way they'll stand out. If you're using JAWS, you can press the letter H to navigate by heading, and then you can read the information under each heading. So when you're on this page, it just gives you some information about how you can press H to navigate forward through your headings or Shift H to go backward. All right, but it places you here in this edit field and it turns on forms mode as a JAWS user so that we can actually start typing. So let's start with something here. I'm going to ask JAWS, we're going to ask it a JAWS question. We're going to say how, let's see.
How? No H.
Let's try something a little different here. Which command reads the window title?
Which? The title.
I think I just messed up, but that's okay. So I can,
Title I. Title. Misspelled N.
there we go. I had to correct my mistake just because. Okay, I'm sure it would have known. So I asked it which command. You could just say, how do I read a window title? Or what is the command for reading a window title? You really want to use more natural language. I probably didn't phrase that as naturally as I could, but it will know. And we can read our question here. I'm going to press insert or caps lock tab.
Type your question here. Edit. Which command reads the window title?
Okay, and that's a command, that's a JAWS command that reads the current control. In this case, our control is an edit field and it read what was in it. Okay, so we asked our question, we're gonna press enter.
Enter. Which command reads the window title?
We're hearing some progress
To read
clicks.
the window title with JAWS, press insert +T. This command will speak the title of the active window. If you are using a laptop keyboard layout, the command is the same. Insert +T, period.
All right, now I like this particular example because, and I tried this earlier today and I thought about this. This is a great one for demonstrating how you can continue chatting with this AI tool. So right there, it gave you a keyboard command. It said you can press Insert T, reads the window title. Even if you're using laptop layout, you can still press Insert T. Okay, you can, but one of the advantages of laptop layout is that if you don't have an insert key, you can use laptop layout and it uses caps lock as that JAWS key. So that caps lock key is used for a lot of keyboard commands. So you might be thinking, well, I have a laptop without an insert key. So what if I don't have an insert key? All right, we're still here in the edit field. It read those instructions. It told us what to do. So I'm just going to continue typing. I'm going to say, well,
What if I don't have an key? Question.
all right.
Type your question here. Edit. What if I don't have an insert key?
All right, there's my question. What if I don't have an insert key? I can press enter.
Enter. What if I don't have an insert key? If you do not have an insert key, you can use the JAWS key, which is often set to the caps lock key on many laptops. So, to read the window title, press caps lock +T, period. If your JAWS key is set to something else, use that key +T.
Okay, so it's giving you some information here, but the main thing is it told you if it's set to laptop layout, you need to press caps lock T. All right, so far we've just been here in this edit field. We could continue chatting and JAWS is going to read the answers to us. But number one, you may want to go through this information line by line or word by word. Or number two, if there's a really long answer, you might want to review it a little more slowly, or maybe you want to copy and paste it somewhere. All right, so to do that, I'm actually going to turn off forms mode. I'm going to press caps lock semicolon or the plus key if I do have a plus key on, if I have a numpad.
Virtual.
You do not want to press escape. That's a key I often use on web pages, and that's fine on a web page. It will get you out of forms mode so that you can navigate the rest of the page. But here, because you have accessed FS Companion from within JAWS, it's actually going to exit FS Companion. All right, so you don't want to use escape. I'm going to press the letter H because remember we talked about a few minutes ago, if you press H, you can navigate to each question and each question is its own heading.
Wrapping the top. Heading which command reads the window title? Heading level 2.
There's our first question,
What if I don't have an insert key? Heading level 2.
and there's our second one, and I could navigate with my down arrow key here.
If you do not have an insert key, you can use the JAWS key, which is often set to the caps lock key on.
And I just press Control to make it stop reading, but you could continue pressing down arrow. You can copy and paste this information, and you could save it if you wanted, save it to a document. All right, now if you press Escape and you exit FS Companion, or if you're on the website and you press Alt F4 and you exit your browser, the information from your chat is not saved. We do not save any information. We are not collecting data for research or anything like that. None of your information is retained. So let's ask it a word question or an Outlook question. Let's ask it an Outlook question. All right, I'm going to go to the top of the page here with Control Home,
FS.
and I'm going to press the letter B because we have a few buttons on this page.
Switch to dark mode button. New conversation button.
So here we have new conversation button. So if I press space here, again, it's going to delete the previous conversation that we were having about window title.
Space. New. Hello.
And it's going to turn on forms mode and place me in the edit field. And here I can type.
Create a sign. Outlook question.
All right.
Type your question here. Edit. How do I create a signature in Outlook?
How do I create a signature in Outlook? I can press enter.
Enter. How do I create a signature in Outlook? To create a signature in Outlook using JAWS, follow these steps. 1. Press Alt plus F, then T, then M to open the Outlook options window with the focus on the mail category.
So right there, and I just press Control because there's a list of steps here. You'll notice we get keyboard commands. So it tells us exactly what commands to press. And again, you could save that information, copy and paste it somewhere and save it. So I just wanted to show you how that worked. This works for Google Workspace. So if you use the Workspace apps like Docs and Sheets, you'll be able to get information about that as well. So once again, fscompanion.ai if you're navigating or if you're accessing it from the web. If you're accessing it from Zoom Text, it's under the Help menu, and from JAWS, you're going to press Insert Spacebar or Caps Lock Spacebar followed by F1. I'm going to press Escape right here.
Blank. Edit.
And I'm actually going to stop sharing. We're going to go to the next slide. One of the things I do like, though, about FS Companion is, even if you're not just learning JAWS, if you can't remember how to do something, let's say you're in a document and you think, well, how do I change the font? You could just access FS Companion from right there, get the information you're looking for, press Escape, and you're right back where you were before. Okay, let's go on to the next slide here, which is, it's another JAWS feature, which is our new AI labeler. This one's been around for a few months now. We actually just made some enhancements to it, but as JAWS users, we've all been on web pages or in applications where we press B for button or G for graphic or any other element, any other control, and we just hear button or graphic 550, which, those are unlabeled graphics, unlabeled buttons, unlabeled controls. Or you hear a label, but it really doesn't make any sense. So we have created, we already had custom label. That was already a feature. But if you don't know what the label is, you really don't know, or if you don't know what the graphic is, you don't know how to label it. So you can ask someone, but that doesn't really help you in the moment. So we've created an AI labeler, which enables you to create or to use AI to create labels. So it's just a command. You can use, AI to label those app and web page controls. And these labels are saved so that the next time you go back to that app or that web page and you navigate to that control, you'll hear that label. You can also go in and customize it. So you could rename it, or, you could add some words to it or something like that. You can go in and rename it. So that is our custom label or our AI labeler. Now, and I'm going to show you how that works in just a minute, but I do want to mention this is still an early part of our early adopter program. So when features are still in development, a lot of times we will go ahead and release them in our early adopter program to get your feedback. What do you think of the feature? How are you using it? What feedback do you have? What suggestions do you have? So I'm going to show you where to go to turn it on, and then you'll be able to use it. Because if you don't turn it on in early adopter program and you go try to use it, then it won't do anything. All right, so I'm going to share my screen again here and make sure I'm sharing JAWS.
Sharing.
Okay. So here we're going to go to JAWS. I'm actually going to press Insert J, or if you do not have an insert key, you can press Control Shift Caps Lock. I know it's a lot. Control Shift Caps Lock on the left side. You can use your left hand maybe for that, and then J.
JAWS context menu.
Now, if JAWS is running in its own window, you're going to hear JAWS. For me, I'm running it in the system tray, so it took me to a context menu. But yours will just say JAWS. And then you'll press Alt-O for options. I'm just going to press O here because I'm already in a context menu.
Basics ...
And that takes you in the options menu, and then you'll press E for early adopter.
Leaving menus. Exit list. Early adopter program. Read only edit. Enable and disable features that are still in development.
Okay, so here we're placed in a read-only edit field, which just contains some information about what the early adopter program is. And we're going to use our tab key to navigate here through these different things that you can enable. And they have check boxes, so you can check or keep them unchecked, or you can check them. So I'm going to press space, or no, sorry, I'm going to press tab.
Improve Java Swing support checkbox checked.
And that's already checked, but that's another feature, but you can check or uncheck them with the space bar.
Read only edit. Enable this to boost JAWS responsiveness and reliability in Java Swing.
So I just press tab and it tells me what that feature is. So I'm going to press tab a couple of times here because we have a few features.
Send feedback. Modern edit. Send feedback button. AI-based UI labeler checkbox checked.
So that's our AI-based UI labeler, and that's checked, and that's what we want. And then if we tab,
read only edit. This feature uses AI to generate labels for unlabeled.
And it tells us what it is.
Send feedback button.
And we can send feedback, and we really do want your feedback. So feel free to use these features and send us your feedback. So now that you press space to check this option,
disable all button,
we can tab to OK. There is an option here for disable all.
OK button.
But I'm going to press space on OK.
Space. Screen share.
Okay. Now I'm going to Alt tab over here to a web page that I have that contains a very poorly labeled graphic.
APH what dealing with difficult pages. Google dealing.
And let me maximize this.
Leaving menus.
Okay. So I found this on our Surf's Up page. Surf's Up is our online tutorial for learning how to navigate the internet with JAWS. And there is a section on it, I think it's called Dealing with Difficult Pages. And one of the graphics on this page was purposely labeled very poorly to show, what happens when a graphic or, some kind of control isn't labeled correctly. So if I press the letter G,
Surf's Up link graphic.
Okay, that one's fine. But if I press it again,
images / ask flu T173x53 UPOM SIR 33B link graphic.
All right, and that made absolutely no sense. And I'm even looking at it in Braille, and it still made absolutely no sense. All right, so we want to press Insert G or Caps Lock G, which is the command for custom label, for AI labeler here.
Freedom Scientific link.
All right, now it labeled it for me and it called it Freedom Scientific. So if I go to another part of the page, even if I left this page and came back, if I press G.
Surf's Up link graphic. Freedom Scientific link graphic.
All right, and that is our label. So it labeled it for me. Now, if I press Insert G again, maybe, and this can happen on occasion because, it is AI, it labeled it, but maybe it wasn't really explanatory enough, and I want to try again. I can press Insert G or Caps Lock G again. And
screen sharing meeting controls. Replace label dialog. The current custom label is Freedom Scientific link. Do you want to replace it with this new label? Freedom Scientific button. Yes.
Okay. So we heard a couple of progress clicks there, and it said, oh, well, the current label is Freedom Scientific link. Do you want to replace it with Freedom Scientific button? Well, I don't think this is button. So I'm actually I could choose yes. I'm sitting on yes. I could tab to
No
no,
button. Alt plus N.
or I could press Alt N, but I'm going to space here on no.
Space.
But
Screen.
maybe it would have found, let's say that wasn't a link and it was button, then I would have said, oh yeah, I do want to change that. All right, let's talk about how to customize this. So what if you have, I think I only have one here, but what if you have several labels and you want to look at them, you want to edit them, maybe you want to delete a few, you want to customize them. We're going to press insert space or caps lock space. So I'm going to hold caps lock down and tap the space bar.
Space.
Now I'm going to press Alt L. So I'm going to hold Alt down and tap L.
Custom labels are not available in this application. Escape. Title list. Screen sharing.
Oh, okay. For some reason.
Dealing with difficult pages.
Well, that was interesting. So I must have done something that switched windows there. And it went ahead and did my label for me. But when I tried to access it, I was not in the right window. All right, I'm back.
Link graphics.
Okay, good. Let's try that again. Caps lock space.
Space.
Alt L.
Label manager dialog. Custom labels list view. Freedom Scientific. Link 1 of 1.
So, and actually, that was interesting that happened, and I did hear Jaws say screen sharing, so I wondered about that. But that's interesting that happened because in order to see your custom labels, you have to be in an application that supports them. So that's another good point. All right, so it said custom label dialog, and it read out the one that we just created, which is Freedom Scientific link. And it said 1 of 1. So if I had, let's say, 5 custom labels here, I could use my arrow keys to navigate through them. And then when I'm on the one that I might want to edit or delete, I could, tab through this dialog and edit or delete or use the keyboard commands it gives you. So I'm on this particular label. And if I tab,
edit label button, Alt plus E.
We could press the space bar there to edit the name of it, or I could press Alt E.
Delete label button, Alt plus D.
Or Alt D to delete.
OK button, Alt plus O.
And we have Alt O.
Cancel button, Alt plus C. Custom.
So it tells you the keyboard commands, or you can just tab. And so, for example, I'm on this label, I could just press Alt E to edit.
Alt E, label manager dialog, edit label dialog, label edit, Freedom Scientific link.
So I could relabel it if I wanted to. I'm going to press escape.
Label manager dialog, custom labels list.
All right, and when I'm done, I can just press Alt O to go to OK.
Alt O. Dealing with.
All right, and we're back on our page. But since I kept the label the same, now when I press G,
Surf sub link, Freedom Scientific link graphic.
That's what we're getting here. All right, so that is the custom label. That is the AI labeler and how that works. And again, go enable that in your early adopter program like I showed you there, and you should be able to use that.
Screen sharing.
All right, I'm going to stop sharing the screen, and we're going to go to the next slide here that I'm going to show you. So next is another JAWS feature called automatic language detection. So if you read web pages or documents in different languages, and you have that all set up in JAWS, but the developer of that web page or that document has not tagged those different languages properly. So if that text is not tagged as being in a particular language, JAWS isn't going to know that. So it's not going to switch to the voice that you've chosen for that language because it's not even going to get that information. It's not going to know, okay, now we're using this language and now it's this language. So we added another feature, and again, this one's using AI to detect when you're navigating in your document or on that web page to detect the language when you navigate to text that's in that language and switch to the appropriate voice that you've chosen there. And so what I'm going to show you here in just a moment is how to go turn that on, because by default, it's going to look for the markup. And when we say markup, we're referring to, if the developer has to, whoever, created that document or that web page had to have tagged it as that language. And so if JAWS doesn't find that, you want to make sure that it's going to use the AI. All right. So I'm actually going to share my screen again. I know I didn't. Let me try this one more time. Here we go.
Sharing meeting.
Okay, you guys do hear JAWS, right?
Yes, yes.
Workplace.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I didn't accidentally turn that off.
Screen
Okay.
sharing meeting. APH what dot dot. Edit page 2.
All right, so we're going to go into Settings Center to look for this particular setting. And I am going to press Insert 6 on the number row, or I can press Caps Lock 6.
Word JAWS Settings Center dialog.
Okay, now it's opening Settings Center. And here, if we just leave it like this, we're going to be changing settings for the application that we're in. I want to change it to all applications. So I'm going to press Control Shift D, Delta. That changes it to default to all applications.
JAWS Settings Center default all applications.
All right. So here we are placed in an edit field or search box where we can search for a particular setting. I'm just going to type language.
JAWS Settings Center default all applications dialog. Detect keyboard language. 1 of 10 search results.
All right, I'm going to down arrow. Keyboard language is not what I'm looking for. So
Language. 10 search results list box. Detect keyboard language. Language processing. Text processing.
okay, language processing, text processing, that's what
Enter.
I want.
Search edit box. Level 0. Speech verbosity. Level 1. Language processing closed.
Sorry about that. I accidentally arrowed away from it. All right, so it says language processing closed. I'm going to press right arrow to open that.
Language processing open. 4 items.
Okay, I'm going to down arrow.
Level 2. Detect language based on AI predictions. 1 of 4.
So the first setting here is to predict based on AI predictions, or detect language based on AI predictions. And it said 1 of 4, so I'm actually going to show you how to change this because yours may not be set to that. So when it says 1 of 4, that means there are 4 settings, and this is one of them. So I'm going to press the space bar to cycle through all of them.
Space off. 4 of 4.
Okay, so that is off. That would not detect any language changes. Space again.
Space based on markup of document and web page. 1.
So the markup, again, this is based on the markup, so it would be looking for those language tags that I mentioned.
Space based on text vocalizer expressive only. 2 of 4.
So that deals with the vocalizer expressive only voices.
Space based on AI predictions. 3 of 4.
And that's based on AI predictions. All right. So I am going to press Alt A for apply, and then I'm going to tab to OK
OK button.
and space.
Space. Page 2.
And there you go. And now we've saved it. All right.
Zoom. Screen share. Dealing with difficult page.
We're actually going to watch a video here in just a
Screen share.
second.
Downloads file experience.
There we go.
Download.
So the next thing that I want to talk about here is live text view. Now we're going to move on to the Zoom text. So we're going to talk about live text view. And I'm just going to show you this video, and then we're going to talk a little bit about it.
Introducing.
All right, so I'm just here going to turn off speech.
Space. Speech on demand.
And let's watch the video.
Introducing Live Text View, available on Zoom Text and Fusion. Live Text View is a screen magnifier feature that's specifically designed to improve the readability of on-screen text in web browsers and other applications. It displays a continuous line of clear, easy-to-read text across the top or bottom of the screen, showing content from the cursor, mouse pointer, or focus area as you navigate. And you can even customize the font, size, and color contrast to match your reading preferences. You can pair Live Text View with existing features like App Reader to combine the best of both worlds.
Huayna has erupted several times during the Holocene, including on February 19, 1600, the largest eruption ever recorded in South America, which
To enable the Live Text View feature, go to the Zoom Text or Fusion menu, choose Help, and then Early Adopter Program. Select the Live Text View checkbox, click OK, and restart the software. After restarting, Live Text View appears on the Magnifier Toolbar tab. It replaces the navigation button, which is now a submenu in the Zoom Text or Fusion menu. Live Text View is available in the March 2025 release of Zoom Text and Fusion via the Early Adopter Program. Visit freedomscientific.com/downloads to try it out today.
All right, let me turn my speech back on. I'm actually going to stop sharing here.
Full speech.
And
Dealing with APH what Zoom Workplace.
okay, So actually, this video was made when Live Text View was still a part of the early adopter program. That is no longer the case. So it is now just in Zoom Text whenever you are, whenever you run Zoom Text, then you'll have access to Live Text View there. So I did want to mention that we're in the process of updating that video. So, just to kind of mention again, Live Text View allows you to read or hover over difficult text that is difficult to view. Maybe it's a different font. Maybe it's something that's, you're having difficulty seeing. So you can hover over it and you get the Live Text View window there. All right, the last feature and really thing that I want to mention here with the Zoom Text is about the Startup Wizard. And this actually pertains to Zoom Text and Fusion. So with JAWS, we have a Startup Wizard, and we have one with Zoom Text as well. And both of them run, so when you first run JAWS or Zoom Text, the Startup Wizard runs automatically. And so the Startup Wizard allows you to customize your settings. So in Zoom Text, you're going to be able to customize the screen, the magnification, all your enhancements, the speech that I talked about. That's the speech that supplements your screen magnification there in Zoom Text. So you're going to have different pages that come up that will give you different settings, and you can customize it there. You can also go back to it. It's under the Zoom Text menu and preferences. So at any time, if you want to go back to those settings and go through that Startup Wizard, which just kind of walks you through some of the basic settings you may want to set, you can go back there. Now, if you are running Fusion, the Startup Wizard for Zoom Text is only going to show you the magnification and enhancement settings. And that is because with Zoom Text, you have both, with Fusion, you have both Zoom Text and JAWS. So you have the Zoom Text magnification, and then you have JAWS as your speech. So you have the Zoom Text Startup Wizard and the JAWS Startup Wizard available to you. But for Zoom Text, so the thing that's a little bit new here is that we added some options and kind of reworked the Startup Wizard in Zoom Text to give you the options that you need to customize. So I just wanted to mention that if you're new to Zoom Text and you install it, you're going to have that Startup Wizard there. All right, next let's talk a little bit about your updates. Now, this PowerPoint slide contains the update links, or not update, but the what's new links for JAWS, Zoom Text, and Fusion that take you directly to the what's new in JAWS or Zoom Text or Fusion 2025 pages. You can also go to freedomscientific.com, and under the software releases heading, there are links there for JAWS, Zoom Text, and Fusion that take you directly to the what's new pages. And so that's where we place all of the information about the new features and the new enhancements. All of that's right there on those what's new pages. And then on those pages, you'll also find a link that you can follow to download or update to the latest version. So as I mentioned earlier, we did have an update last week for all 3 products, of course. And so you might want to go ahead and install that. You can install it too from, for example, from JAWS, you can go to the help menu and check for updates. Same thing with Zoom Text, you can install it from there as well. All right, and finally, I did want to mention our training page. So this is where you can go to learn about all of the latest training content. Go to freedomscientific.com/training. And there you'll find everything from our upcoming webinars to our archived webinars, which we call webinars on demand. You can access those, our videos, our podcast page. We have pages for teachers. And we also have a link to our Learn AI page. So we've started a new AI series. We hold webinars the first Thursday of every month, but we've created a page for Learning AI that's going to walk you through the entire process. We archive all those webinars there, their practice exercises and resources and more. So go to freedomscientific.com/training. You're going to find everything you need there. And if you have any questions or if you have any feedback, or if you need help registering for anything, you can always send us an email to training@freedomscientific.com. Vispero.com. And Vispero is Victor, India, Sierra, Papa, Echo, Romeo, Oscar. That's training at Vispero.com. All right, I think we are ready for another poll.
We are. So we are going to launch this poll. I was going to in the beginning of the webinar, but I have to be honest, I forgot. So you guys are going to be doing this at the end, but it's still great knowledge for Liz to know. So the question is, which Freedom Scientific software product or products do you use? And you can check multiple. So check all that apply. JAWS, ZoomText, Fusion, or I don't use any of these products. And we'll leave the poll on for just a minute, and then we will go over the results. So Liz, I assume you're using JAWS all the time, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Nice. I've used both ZoomText and Fusion, so I have
Great.
experience with both.
Yeah. So do you use the Fusion interface when you use Fusion, or do you just use JAWS and ZoomText, those, separately?
Separately,
Yeah.
definitely, yeah. So I had like Fusion logged on, or I guess like downloaded onto my computer just like as a work feature. And I don't use the text, but I definitely use the magnification. So I just use kind of ZoomText as a standalone inside of Fusion.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
So
right.
for any of you out there who are using that, you do have options. You can use the interface or you can use them separately. So
Exactly. All right, so we are going to end this poll now. Everybody, thank you for taking part. We have, again, I will repeat the question. Which Freedom Scientific software product or products do you use? And you could check all that apply. So we have 44% of people who use JAWS. We have 44% of people who use ZoomText. We have 38% of people who use Fusion. And we have about 31% who don't use any of those products. So we are going to launch just a second poll. This one I think is more of a knowledge finding question. So I will go ahead and launch it now. Is how do you use FS Companion, our AI assistant for learning JAWS, ZoomText, and any third-party applications? And of course, you can also check all that apply. And the options are to look up JAWS or ZoomText commands, to learn more about JAWS or ZoomText, to learn specific tasks in third-party apps like Microsoft Office or Google Workspace, to learn how to navigate web pages, or I have tried it but don't use it regularly. And the last one is I have not used it yet, of course. And we'll let that run for just a minute. And then I will close this poll and go over those results. And then, of course, in the meantime, if you have answered the poll and there is any burning questions that you have or anything that you want to know, of course, put them in the chat. You guys are quite quiet today, so we would love to hear from you about any comments that you have about the new update, any questions that you may have while you have somebody here right in front of you to answer. And of course, anything else that you want to add into this webinar chat. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and end the poll. The question again was, how do you use FS Companion or AI Assistant for learning JAWS, ZoomText, and any third-party applications? We have about 12% that say that they use it to look up JAWS or ZoomText commands. We have 6% who said that they use it to learn more about JAWS or ZoomText. We have 6% to learn specific tasks in third-party apps like Microsoft Office or Google Workspace. And then finally, we have 88% who have not used it at all. And we may have a question in the chat.
all right, great.
Cassandra asks, what is your favorite Braille display to use with JAWS?
I don't think I've ever met a Braille display I didn't like. It's no, and I'm being serious when I say that too. I really don't have a favorite. I know every display has certain features that are specific to it. I do use a Focus, that's our display, and I have one, I'm actually using it right now. That said, I really like the multi-line Braille displays. I really think that's a game changer. So really, it's just a matter of finding the display that fits you and that works really well has the features that you need, I would say, or your student, whomever you're working with, maybe who needs a display.
Any more questions? I was gonna say, you know, we should just say right now the Monarch. Well, we just had a picture of that in the multi-line braille display, so it could be
Yeah.
cool to see how that changes with Joss as time goes on.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Well, if there are no more questions, we can give you guys 10 minutes back to your day. Of course, we're really excited that we had Liz here today, that she shared a little bit about the updates. And of course, they're always creating more updates to make some user accessibility and ease of use for you guys a lot easier as time goes on. So thank you, Liz, for joining us. Thanks for the updates, and thank you all for also joining us as well today. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day and week, and we will see you in our next partner showcase.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye.